Daily Tech News Show is made possible by you, our listeners. Thanks to all of you, including Adam L., aka Alo, Tony Glass, Peter Bohack, and our new patrons. Everybody welcome Nitro Aid and Ghetto Swan. Yay! Welcome!
Hooray!
Yay! On this episode of DTNS, when will Facebook Messenger overtake your phone carrier, if ever? Will Google have to spin off Chrome? And Tubi joins the short video train. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, November 21st, 2024. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
From deep in the heart of Texas, I'm Justin Robert Young.
And I'm here, the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Well, we've got a big, packed show, lots of news the week before Thanksgiving. Will it ever slow? No one knows. Certainly not today. So let's get to the quick hits. Comcast announced it plans to spin out all of its NBC Universal's cable networks, except for Bravo, into a separate publicly traded company initially called SpinCo. Comcast hopes that by shedding declining assets from these properties, the company's shares might rise. NBC Universal's Mike Lazarus will head SpinCo, and he said in a statement, "As a standalone company with these outstanding assets, we will be better positioned to serve our audiences and drive shareholder returns in this incredibly dynamic media environment across news, sports, and entertainment."
Cybersecurity company Wiz has acquired DAS, an AI-driven cloud security firm, for $450 million to enhance its platform. DAS specializes in remediation, focusing on risk prioritization and resolution. This is Wiz's third major acquisition this year, including acquiring Gem Security for $350 million.
Big acquisition year for Wiz. Head of Instagram and also Threads, Adam Mosseri, says that the company, the combined company, is tweaking its algorithm to prioritize posts from people that you follow over recommendations. So starting Thursday, the For You feed on Threads will surface fewer posts from strangers and focus more on connections that you already have. The shift comes as Blue Sky recently hit 21 million users, although Threads added 15 million signups in November alone.
WordPress owner Automatic has acquired grammar and spell checking company Harper, a Grammarly competitor. Harper focuses on developers, is open source, and works to be a privacy first by processing its checks locally on your device. Harper is currently available as a language server through WebAssembly, but Automatic said that post-acquisition, the plan is to integrate Harper's capabilities across the web hosting platform WordPress.com, e-commerce platform WooCommerce, the WordPress plugin Jetpack, among other services.
Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC Chair Gary Gensler, announced he will step down from his position on January 20th, 2025, coinciding with President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. The move comes as crypto firms, such as Coinbase, although there are quite a few others, have pushed back against the lack of clear regulatory guidance at the SEC. Facebook Messenger is getting some more robust features. That is, if you use it to communicate with a lot of people, I do for some, such as added support for HD video calls, audio and video voice messages, generative backgrounds, if that's something that you're interested in, a la Zoom, and support for Apple's Siri. That part is kind of interesting. iPhone and iPad users can now ask Siri to send a message through Facebook Messenger if they so desire. HD video calling will be on by default on Wi-Fi, has to be turned on by the caller if they're on a cellular connection. So you've got to kind of check your settings here. Parent company Meta says that the generative backgrounds for video calls are coming soon. So you're not going to get them today necessarily, but you are going to get them eventually. Facebook Messenger is also going to let users send audio or video messages when their friends don't pick up a call. So you get a record message button option on the call screen to send an audio or video message to the chat conversation. This is basically voicemail. Meta said in a statement about the new features, around the world, people collectively spend over 7 billion minutes on calls across Facebook and Messenger every day. All right, so assuming that those numbers are true, a lot of people are using this. Justin, it kind of feels to me like Facebook wants to take over your cell service carrier. Is that possible?
Well, I don't know if taking over the cell service carrier would be necessarily what either what they're aiming at, but certainly to replace the full suite of communication tools that you have natively on your phone, either through Google or Apple or anything else that you have. They want to be able to own that space. And in part, they actually have a really good product in Facebook Messenger. There's a reason why people use it. It's fast. It already has a lot of the contacts that you have made through their social graph. And to add different ways to communicate, if they are as slick as the rest of that product, will be well used. I think your point is interesting, that what is the role of our cell carrier going forward, and exactly how are we going to look at that further commoditized universe going forward, especially if we get so many of these features that continue to evolve?
I think one of the things that Messenger is also trying to do is that it is Meta. It is a Facebook product. So once they get you in there, you're in there. And they will, in all places where it is legal for them to do so, they will get data from you. They're going to get analytics from how you're using it, who you're using it with, what you know, potentially even what you may be sending back and forth. So I believe that this is just another way that they can say, you know what, a lot of people use this. Let's keep giving them features to keep them on it. Because I think another part of it too is that we have to remember that Meta also owns WhatsApp. There's probably at some point, coming down the road, there's going to be integration between Messenger and WhatsApp. And then at some point, you may even see integration between Messenger and, in these other platforms, maybe like, Google Messages and iMessage and stuff like that. So I think that they just want to make sure that they are in the game. They are a major player here. And the more features, the more services they give us, the happier people will be with it and probably stay inside of Meta's walled garden.
That was kind of my first question, is like, well, what about the WhatsApp universe? I guess Facebook, well, Meta, as the parent company of all of these companies, I understands that, the people that I talk to on WhatsApp are not the people that I talk to on Facebook Messenger. They could be. No. We have options, right? We also have plenty of other options we could do. If we're in the Apple universe, it's FaceTime. We could do Zooms. We could be on Squadcast. I mean, the list goes on. But Facebook Messenger is, and Roger was mentioning, but before we started the show, that, that's for like family members. There really aren't any other people that he talks to on Facebook Messenger. I don't have that many people that I talk to on Facebook Messenger on a regular basis, but they exist. They definitely exist. And they're not going over to WhatsApp. In fact, I've got a friend who lives overseas, because if you live in Europe, you use WhatsApp, and you're just like constantly annoyed that Americans don't use WhatsApp. Some of us do, but a lot of people don't. And she's like, "It's the best. Why not? Just try it." And I'm like, "All right," but nobody else is on there. It's just you and me. So I think that it makes sense for Messenger to become something that it's not just about sending like a cutesy text back and forth. This is something that you could use for work. This is something that would take care of a company call that could be, that feels like a fully baked product that looks good and sounds good.
Well, but also, what Facebook's great value is the social graph. They have marked your life and the people that you know and talk to for over a decade, right? And your fastest ability to have a real-time communication with them is via this app. And they want you to be able to do that in many different ways. I don't believe that WhatsApp and Messenger are ever going to particularly join together, at least at any time where they are both really relevant. If one of them falls off totally in terms of its usage, then maybe you can see it folded in. But the era that we're entering now, and I think it's a good one, is give people the exact experience they want. Stop trying to artificially jam everybody into one thing. I mean, even look at the way that they wrote about how popular Messenger is in this press release. Around the world, people collectively spend over 7 billion minutes on calls across Facebook and Messenger every day. They're saying they're just tying two different products together. Facebook, the web app, and Messenger, which is largely a mobile app. Like, that's fine. Meta can still say at the end of the day that a gigantic gaudy number uses their products. There's no need to combine them.
Yeah, and we always hear how kids
ahead,
don't
Rob.
use, kids don't use, the younger generation don't use
Yeah.
Facebook. They do. They're in Instagram. They're in other products, but adults still tend to use it. I mean, there's like everyone that I know has a Facebook account that is my age, 10 years younger, 10 years, to 15 years older. They all have them. So this is a play to where we've already got you. We're going to keep you in our walled garden by giving you services and features that just make it easy for you to communicate regardless of what platform you're on.
Yeah.
And they do that very well. These tools work very, very well.
It kind of reminds me of the ongoing social network, like which one is the right one conversation that we're all sort of having, because that's still shaking out to some extent. There was a time where on my iPhone, if somebody was calling me on Facebook Messenger, I'd be like, whoa, weird, don't want to do that. Call me if you know my phone number, and now I'm like, oh, it's fine. I don't care. If somebody FaceTime audios me, well, if they video FaceTime me, I'm like, still no. But FaceTime audio versus just a straight up, phone call from phone number to phone number also doesn't bother me. I think we're all a lot more used to that. It's like someone wants to get a hold of me. It might be a video thing, it might be an audio thing, or some combination of the two. And it's not that weird anymore. We just have more options.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. Tubi, the free ad-supported streaming television service, or the FAST service backed by Fox, has introduced a new short-form video feature called Scenes that enables users to explore short clips from over 250,000 popular television programs and films. Scenes is designed to enhance user engagement and facilitate content discovery, positioning Tubi to compete both with traditional fast streaming services and short-form video sharing platforms like Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. This feature is now available to all Tubi users on iOS and Android devices. And I actually updated my Tubi application on my Android device earlier today just to see this.
Well, because you're a Tubi user, right?
I'm a Tubi user. I watch Tubi. It is probably, it is probably a top 3 streaming service for me. There's just a lot of content on there, and it's background noise for just TV just running for me. I updated to it. I looked around with it and played with it. Oh, this is kind of cool. And then I thought it kind of reminds me of Netflix Moments, that they just announced that, a couple weeks ago. But there's a big difference, and maybe Tubi will update this. With Netflix Moments, you can share clips across social media. People have to have Netflix accounts to actually be able to view it, but you can at least share it. Say, hey, this is really cool. Go watch this. You can't do that inside of Tubi. All you really can do is just watch clips. So this is a very, very personal thing. You just enjoy them for yourself.
Yeah.
If they could share them, or if you could share them out via social media, I think that would be a boon for a lot of people. There's like an old movie that's on there, and you share it out because you're having this piece of nostalgia or something like that, and then you share it to your friends, and they can come in and watch it as well. And if they don't have Tubi, they just doesn't matter, because Tubi's free. You don't even have to have an account on your phone, yet. You can have an account, but you don't have to have one. So I think they're missing it by not, making this thing shareable. But it is a pretty cool feature to where you can just go and just literally watch clips. It's almost like watching movie trailers, where you're just watching a piece of a movie. Oh, let me go check that out.
Or you're watching a clip, a 3 to 5 minute clip, or thereabouts, from a show that you watched, several times already through reruns, but you really like the scene. It's funny. Mm-hmm. And it I don't know, makes you feel good. This gets served up to me on Facebook all the time, because I'm constantly getting friends reruns, little scenes, or like, haha, funny blooper, when Rachel said the funny thing type. I watch that stuff because it doesn't require me to really pay a ton of attention or even give anyone 30 minutes of my time. And it's pretty easy to share, although I'm not always like, hey, look at this funny Friends clip. That's what I was doing at 9 a.m. this morning. But yeah, Justin, what do you think about the whole idea of like this kind of taking a clip out of a longer form content and the person knowing, I know I'm not watching the whole thing, but I only need to watch that funny scene that I already know is there. Or maybe I'm learning for the first time.
It's doomed. That's what I'm telling you.
It's doomed.
It's a doomed feature, and here's why. Number one, it is something that happens quite a bit where, it's an add-on feature, right? We can all agree that it's somebody in some marketing or some room in Tubi's like, hey, why are we not TikTok? And then somebody says, oh, we could maybe be TikTok, and then they create a feature like this. But that's not the reason why it's doomed. The fact that it's an also-ran. If it was an also-ran and it was really, really well done and it avoided this one pitfall, I would say it would have a chance. But there's a reason why these kind of clips proliferate in the gray market, wink, wink, of Reddit, YouTube, TikTok. Because if you want to play in this game with the legal rights, that means those legal rights can be taken away at any given time. And what makes these ecosystems special and awesome are a lot of hard work from users. What user is desperately going to want to spend their time and effort to make the best clips if they know that at any moment American Gladiators can come off Tubi and now be exclusive to Amazon Prime, and now everything that you did just gets nuked because you spent so much time finding all the best turbo and ice clips?
But if everybody already saw the clips, what do we care? Really?
Because, I mean, this is the reward of the user-generated ecosystem. You want the clout. You want the ability to say that there's, because with the talent comes the people, with the people comes the clout. And so if it's always going to be on shaky ground, and like Robb said, you're already boxing it in on some level because you're not allowing it to be shared on other places. It's just existing within Tubi. Then maybe, look, I'm not familiar with that ecosystem, so maybe there is a thirst and a hunger for it that people are really going to want to do it, and maybe there's just a Tubi generation that wants to spend more time there but wants more short-form content, possibly. But in general, the history of these kinds of things are pretty fraught because it's way easier to just steal the clip and put it up on YouTube where somebody's going to say, oh my God, I love Friends.
Well, you might have thoughts about this or anything that we talk about on the show, and one way to let us know is through our subreddit. We've got a great community there. We'd love you to be part of it. If you're not already, submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/dailytechnewsshow. All right, big story today. In a Washington federal court, the U.S. Department of Justice filed proposals to restructure Google's business after earlier this year, a judge found that Google had abused its market position in online search and search text ads. Among the proposed actions would be the sale of Google's Chrome browser within 6 months, plus a 5-year ban from re-entering the browser market, and also blocking Google from paying third parties such as Apple to make Google the default search engine on their devices and their products. If those proposals don't work, a total divestment of the Android mobile operating system has also been suggested and currently on the table because nothing has happened yet. Google's expected to file its proposed remedies by December 20th of this year. The judge will then hold a hearing about the proposals from both sides in April of 2025. So this is going to take a while. Then the judge will deliberate and make a decision about which, if any, of these remedies he will impose by the end of August of next year. All right, Justin, how realistic are these proposals?
Not.
Just
No,
not?
they're not
NOT?
realistic.
NOT period?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry to make it so glib, but this is the beginning of a process. Google has a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of lawyers that are going to continue to help them shade whatever this settlement is to their benefit. And by the time that it eventually comes due, it might be dovetailed with other different changes that Google might want to make going forward. Obviously, this is not the kind of stuff that they want to see, but let's be realistic about this process. It's the very beginning of one, and I don't believe that it is going to end with the worst case scenario for Google.
I agree wholeheartedly. I will add to your one word, and I will say not at all. This is simply this is simply just not going to happen. I'm thinking about when the DOJ sued Microsoft for doing way worse things than what Google has been accused and found guilty of doing, and they didn't break Microsoft up. They're not going to do this. They may do some. Google's not going to dance free here, but Chrome will still be a Google thing. Android will still be a Google thing. Search will still be a Google thing for the foreseeable future, and I'm talking about years, if not decades. So, as you said, this is a process. This is the beginning of it. So it's like, well, let's ask for the mountain and see what we get. And I'm imagining that once this is all said and done, Google will feel some pain here, but Chrome will still be part of their, of their ecosystem. Android will definitely still be part of their ecosystem. Search will still be part of their ecosystem.
Well, I mean, as far as some of the remedies have been proposed, the idea that Android might be prevented from favoring Google search, force Google to sell Android if an oversight committee finds further evidence of misconduct, also far-fetched, but okay, that's an option. Google could be required to ensure that websites can choose not to have their content used for training Gemini or any other AI model that Google might have going forward. I mean, what do we think? I mean, is this just by, I don't know, mid 2025, Google walks away from this and everyone went, oh, what a waste of time and money? Or do we think that Google will have to, renege on some of the stuff that it's doing currently?
No, we're going to see some kind of change. You don't go this far down the road without there being some pound of flesh. Just the difference is, will you do material harm to Google's business? Google's core business is selling AdWords. It needs the elements of its business to continue to sell the AdWords at the level that they do. I would see it a little bit more likely that, okay, well, Google is prohibited from, buying certain access or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I would ask a legal scholar to have a better sense of exactly what it's going to be. I just find it to be historically far-fetched for them to say, hey, let's take a hammer to your core business.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're hitting the nail right on the head. Google may, when this is all said and done, may not be able to give Apple billions and billions and billions of dollars to make Google be the default search. They may not be able to just make it hard for any other search engine to exist in the world. They may rein some things in. But when you hear that we want to have Chrome no longer be part of Google, potentially Android no longer be part of Google, you say, well, Google, you can still exist, but we're going to cut your arms, your legs, blind and deafen you. And then remove all ability to feel things, away from you. It's like, well, the company can't really exist in that way. So I don't think the government's going to get into, we're going to shut the company down, which essentially you would be doing if you take these big parts away from it. So Google will feel some pain at the end of this, but they will still have Chrome. They will still have Android. They will still have search when this all gets sorted out. I'm assuming it's just going to be massive, massive fines.
Yeah, that's it. Money. That's what this is going to come down to. They're going to say either you're not allowed to pay for a massive amount of money for preferential treatment, and or give us money. You need to now give us a gigantic fine. And that'll be that.
How many dump trucks of gold bullion do we want you to back up to the DOJ? That's basically what this is.
What's the latest number on what Google pays Apple to be default search in iOS?
I think it was something like $3 or $4 billion
Annually, right? Yeah. Annually, so it's like, I mean, clearly Google feels like it gets way more out of that, or it wouldn't bother. But some sort of restructuring, that would be my best guess of some sort of concession where Google has to be like, all right, or something else that has been floated is making Google license its search and index to other search engines to be able to say, like, here's how we do it, and you can do it too, and people have more choice.
I'll tell you this: now that ChatGPT has search, boy, have I used Google a lot less.
You're not the only person. I have heard this quite recently from folks who were like, you know what? If you just use ChatGPT instead of Google, it's really great. And I'm like, what does that even mean?
And also, it just has a little button. So if I want to talk to it, I can just say, give me a pile of links. And I just search the thing. Boom. Bunch of links. And by the way, it's good. It is
not bad.
Yeah.
It is not bad. And it gives you the citations and it gives you the links. It's like I thought that I was going to have to go away from being able to click on stuff and go somewhere. I was just going to get answers. No, that's not it. It actually is a search experience that we're used to.
I asked it, and it was like just a question of who wrote a certain SNL sketch. Found it immediately and found the citations for it. It was pretty good. Pretty good. I cannot wait until I make it my default search on all of my devices. A lot of people are interested, at least, I don't know if excited is the word, but interested in trying to do things differently. Like we're reimagining a lot of things in technology right now, reimagining search, kind of high up there. Well, we love to imagine things with the help of you, everybody who sends it feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Rob, let's check out the mailbag today.
TJ emailed some thoughts on our GDI discussion regarding the Casio Ring Watch. He wrote, I first heard about the Ring Watch in several of Robert Heinlein's science fiction books. He made references to characters looking at their finger to check the time instead of looking at their wrist. My mom had a tiny dress watch she never wore that was about as wide as my finger. It was analog with an oval face. I reconfigured the watch band so that I could put it on my finger and Viola, a finger watch instead of a wristwatch. I've worn an Apple Watch for 9 years, and I'm intrigued by the Ring Watch.
Justin, are you going to wear a watch on your finger?
No.
No,
I won't.
I'm not, probably just because I have tiny little bird hands, but and I also like my Apple Watch. Like, I'm fine with the wrist thing, but I am intrigued by how much attention the Casio watch and just the idea of a watch that's on your, one of your fingers, maybe it's your index finger, maybe it's your thumb, rather than your wrist.
Yeah,
I'm not a ring guy. I am not Keith Richards. A wedding ring was the extent of where my ring universe ends. Although to ring guys everywhere go nuts.
Yeah, I didn't see it as tech. I saw it as jewelry. It was a piece of jewelry that you could tell time on. So I think that for me, that just puts it in a different mindset. But that's not practical for me to wear every day. So, folks, we want to thank TJ for the email. Justin Robert Young, we also want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Tell folks where they can find out more about what you've got going on.
Well, We're Not Wrong is a podcast that I do with Andrew Heaton and Jen Briney. Each and every week, we discuss the issues, including Blue Sky. So we have a little bit of a tech story here for you guys this week. The rise of Blue Sky. Do we buy it? Do we not? You got to listen to the show to find out. We're Not Wrong. Available anywhere you get podcasts.
Speaking of podcasts, data scientist and guest Andrea Joins Roy has a new show called Behind the Data. You might recall the pilot launched during our experiment week over the summer. And now it's a standalone show, and it's great. On this week's episode, Andrea talks with clinical neurologist Dr. Steve Novella on how he collects and analyzes data when working with patients. You can get that episode and all the others at behindthedatashow.com. Patrons, stick around for our extended show, Good Day Internet. We're rolling right along. Disney is doing some Disney things on Christmas Day, but now the NBA is involved. And so is Sony. We'll unpack that and the whole idea behind it on GDI.
You can also catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We'll be back tomorrow with a holiday home theater buying guide with Robert Heron and Len Peralta. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.